All right. This is this is what I'm listening to right now. This kind of stuff helps calm me down. It's a distraction from everything I got to deal with once I walk out the door.
Around 2200 BC, the Beaker folk began incorporating Newgrange into their own rituals. A huge enclosure of wooden posts was built.
I should probably add it that I'm 15 minutes into it, almost 16 minutes.
Around the monument in which the cremated remains of animals were buried. Just a couple of centuries later, the wooden posts would in turn be replaced by a stone circle. Beyond this, though, construction simply stopped. For whatever reason, the Beaker Stone Circle was the last addition ever made to Newgrange. Although the site itself would be visited by both the Iron Age Celts and the Romans, its era of growth was over. Now all that remained was for Newgrange to be forgotten. It's hard to pinpoint exactly when Newgrange vanished from Ireland's consciousness. Some have suggested it was already a relic by the Iron Age, although evidence seems to show that the Celts visited it. Others have pinpointed the Roman era on the British Isles as Newgrange's endpoint, though, as we've seen, Roman relics uncovered suggest that the place still held some importance for them. That leaves just one other major shift in Irish history when Newgrange could have been forgotten: the arrival of Christianity. It was around the 5th century AD that Christianity finally reached this remote corner of Europe. By then, Newgrange hadn't been added to for over 2,000 years. In our own time, the Colosseum in Rome has a facelift.
All right, so that's the equivalent to this for nearly all of the places that I've been. The equivalent for these people of escaping reality through TV or the internet or whatever. Like Amanda's version. For Amanda, her escape was excessive. It was about 7 hours a day at times, but for her, her escape was Game of Thrones. For Jamie, when she lived here, her escape was Will and Grace. See, she got all these. She used to live out at a farmhouse, and it's really common out here for you to just you go to Walmart, you buy a whole season on DVD, and you watch that over and over. Just like you guys get sick of, those of you with kids get sick of Moana, Train. Eventually, you get kind of sick of watching the same program over and over again, so you trade with somebody else who bought a different season of something else. Jamie had a pretty decent collection because her husband at the time was pretty rich, so she just, instead of trading like that, she just bought them all. For Sally Treon and the people at that household, that show on TV about killing, that was their version. For me, I'm not about the killing, the structures, the things that they built. And yes, some of the things that they built that I totally find fascinating as all fuck includes their weapons and armor, but for the most part, it's their damn architecture. I mean, this stuff is amazing. They made it without electricity. You try living without electricity in America today, and they say you're not trying to take care of yourself. I'm pretty sure that humanity survived without electricity for a long time because we're here. Our utilization of electricity as a tool, non-accidental, is less than 400 years old in modern history. Humans have lived for a lot longer than that. And we've got evidence of many ancient societies, cultures, that's what I'm looking for, cultures who possibly had electricity. A lot of the stuff that we were looking at the Great Pyramids and a lot of the stuff around there, this is all that alien myth stuff, but You know, if you take the aliens out of the mix, you look at the fact that the oldest iron tools on planet Earth were found in Egypt, and they predate the second oldest iron tools by literally thousands of years. You also look at a lot of the stuff that we have left over from the Egyptians. We can tell from the stuff that they had in their tombs that they had a quite extensive use of alloys. Now, this is stuff that if I start talking about it to people who don't care, they don't hear anything beyond that. They're like, all right, he's talking again. But if I'm talking to somebody who's interested in the same stuff, they're like, oh, yeah, dude, fucking, yeah. You bounce ideas off of each other. You talk about some of your theories and some of theirs. Oftentimes, you learn about something you didn't even know existed. There's another lady. Her name is Kirsten Joy Weiss. I found out about her because of R. Lee Ermey. I was watching an R. Lee Ermey video, and apparently I clicked on it because it's got R. Lee Ermey. It's R. Lee Ermey. Come on, dude. Like, you know, there's a lot of movies where, like, you know, we all know him from Full Metal Jacket, right? Everybody knows R. Lee Ermey from Full Metal Jacket, the drill sergeant. Your days of finger banging old Mary Jane rotting crotch through her pretty pink panties are over. Private Snowball! That dude. So, the one that I'm watching with him, it's about the Owen gun. This is something that, and I thought totally that it was his show. It's not, it's hers. But the whole thing about it is, like, I'm watching this whole thing about the Australian military and a lot of their campaigns, and a lot of this came right after I studied a lot of the World War One and World War Two battles of the Canadians. Holy shit, those guys are fucking nutty and effective and crazy and effective and ingenious and effective. Now, why were the Canadians so effective? Why was it that they were so incredibly effective where a lot of these other militaries, major world power militaries, failed and the Canadians marched right through? Well, that's because they had themselves a commanding officer who gave a shit about them. And he wasn't what you would consider a military officer either. He was basically like your weekend warrior, you know? You got this dude who's basically kind of National Guard sort of dude, and he's who's in charge of the Canadian military. And this guy, like, so after I got done with that, I mean, there was a point to that, but after I got done with that, I started getting into Australia and a lot of the stuff that they made, a lot of the greatest technological advances that we have made have been during war. For me, my favorite though is ancient, before electricity, before tanks, before the oil gun. But the point with Kirsten Joy Weiss is, let's see, the video that came off after that. Kirsten Joy Weiss, she got a slingshot, I think is what it is. And this lady apparently has won a lot of competitions for shooting or something like that she was talking about. And this was literally her very first time with a slingshot. And you see her fail and fail and fail and fail. And then eventually she hits it. And she says, you know, this is actually really fun. I mean, look at how many times she failed. She could have given up and said, man, this is stupid. I don't want to do it anymore. It's not fun. But she kept up with it until she succeeded. And then it was fun. She said, you know, this is actually really fun. Matter of fact, It's called slingshot fail. I don't want to hear that shit, neither do you guys.
I'm Joey Weiss, and this is my first time with a slingshot. Ow!
Alright, I guess.
I know, you're just
I don't think I should hold this up for 8 minutes. I was actually watching it on this. This is my telephone. The one that isn't currently hooked up.
I know, you're just itching to know where I got this professional, expensive-looking slingshot. And that's the gas station. I saw it on the rack there and thought, oh my gosh, a slingshot. After all, it is the fun challenge and joy of shooting. I better do some slingshot shooting, which I've never done in my entire life. But I feel like all the times I watched Dennis the Menace and The Lost Boys and Peter Pan have given me enough training just by osmosis that I don't have to watch any YouTube tutorials or basically take any training in slingshot whatsoever. That's the logic. And I think it's terrible, but that's half the fun. I did go one extra step and I got this professional slingshot that surely will outmatch my skills as a slingshot shooter. As you can see, it's still in the frustration full packing. So that's what's going to make it fun, and let's give it a shot. For our targets today, I chose energy drink cans because they are smaller than a regular soda can and a lot bigger than a lot of the targets on my channel. I need all the help I can get. I'm going to have to put some rocks on these cans as well because it's kind of windy and that'll hold them down, I think, a little bit better so they don't blow away before we can shoot them. I know that you might make fun of me for this next decision, but I'm protecting my eyes. I read in the manual that these things can pack a serious punch, and I'm not taking any chances. I kind of like these.
Right? Proper eye safety. You know, I don't mess around with rockets, even the ones they sell at the toy stores. Because even the ones they sell at the toy stores, you can have mishaps with. And them eye protectors aren't really going to help you much. But it's better than nothing. It protects you from small debris.
Alright, here goes my first attempt with the slingshot. I am more than a little nervous. This is a really tiny BB. Maybe we'll have to use the bigger ones, but I only have a few of those, and I feel like I'm gonna potentially miss. Oh, or drop the BB altogether. Oh, there's gonna be so many BBs for me to pick up later. Here we go.
Don't be afraid to make a fool of yourself. Forget it. Just practice.
Ooh. I gotta be honest with you. Was not good. Just petered out right in front of me. Don't think I pulled it back enough.
I want to say that boom sound that it makes. That's not her hitting something. That's kind of like the wah 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 fail kind of sound that she does her own editing, I believe. I am not for certain about that though. But that's, you know, it's not that she actually hits some, and she'll explain that a little bit, I'm sure.
Oh, just over the top. I am extremely close to hitting that first can. I feel like this needs to be broken in a little bit. Just don't want to hit my cameras. Oh, that one might have bounced off the camera. Oopsies. Oh, I'm gonna have to fast forward some of these attempts. Ooh, those soda cans are looking good after all. Oh, over the top. Oh, I dropped that one. I keep dropping these BBs. Gotta pinch it. I'm gonna need a metal detector just to find all these BBs. Almost dropped it, did not. Caught it. Ah! Half the skill is just pinching that tiny little BB. Pinch. I'm gonna run out of BBs. Part of the deal with this is just figuring out where to aim. So then all I have to do is be consistent about how I pull it back. I would guess. Seems logical. Oh, this is loose. That's why I've been missing. That's the only reason. Now this is tightened again. Oh yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Oh, that was really close. At least it's a beautiful day. So the thing I want you to focus on is that this is completely out of my comfort zone. Just like the blowgun video, although I was a lot better with that, this is something that I've never done before. So don't be scared to try new things. I'm a professional shooter and I am pretty much sucking at this. Maybe I should have taken a lesson. It's always a good idea. But don't worry about looking like a fool. Just go have fun. And through fun, you're going to learn. And that's the whole point, right? So let's see if I can get these. Oh! Oh, that was right in front of it. It was so consistent, though. I'm really excited. I'm getting it. I'm getting it. I need to conjure my inner Dennis the Menace. Finally, I got one down. That is great.
Now, that's not the only reason that I wanted to bring up that video. There's also the whole fact that, I mean, she's a professional shooter. I mean, professional. She's good at it. She obviously, if she's professional, she's making money at it. That's how good she is. But she picks up slingshot. This is something that is an actual useful tool. This is something you can get dinner with. She picked it up. She had no idea. Sorry, pardon me. What she was doing. As far as getting the motor reflexes down, it's a matter of repetition. The more you get used to gripping the pouch and utilizing the tool, the more used to it you are, the more comfortable you are. The more comfortable you are, the better you're gonna do. There's also the fact that like she missed a lot before she ever hit it, but then she hit one can right after the other. She did try to go out and get this real big, nice, expensive, you know, fancy alien looking thing. It looked like a slingshot that would be in a video game like Halo on the alien side. I mean, it's weird looking. All precision, this and that. But let's imagine it was the other way around. Let's say you know how to use a slingshot. You're pretty good with a slingshot. You don't have a slingshot though, and people are shooting with you. You decide that that's now the time that you need to learn how to use a firearm to defend yourself. That's not going to work, but it's not going to work out in your favor. You don't have the time to practice. Now, luckily, that slingshot isn't something where it's well. All right, the glass BBs that it comes with. If she was attacked by, let's say, a badger, if she was proficient with that, she could definitely fend off a badger with it. No problem. As long as you see it at a distance and you know it's charging you, you could fend it off. As far as killing the thing, I don't know. I mean, you definitely could. They don't really have that thick of skulls. They're not actually that big of animals. But the thing is, for her, even with the amount of time that she spent practicing here, which is probably a good couple of hours, if you got the tool and you don't know how to use it, it's not doing you any good. If you don't like the tool and you want nothing to do with the tool, well, you might end up in a situation where you've got one of those tools in front of you. Like, let's say you go to a refugee center, and the refugee center, because things aren't looking too good right now, let's say the refugee center is guarded by the National Guard. Now, if people are hell bent on killing everybody that is there, and there's National Guardsmen and they're all falling down, there's a bunch of other people, they may know how to use a firearm, they may not, but they're incapacitated for whatever reason. I mean, you're now in a situation where if you're not hit, if you haven't been shot, you're pretty lucky. But also, like, there are all these people who you could actually save their lives by trying to save your own, because at this point you know that you're dead meat. That's just how it is. If you get lucky, you get lucky. But also, chance favors the prepared mind. With her, once she's got some muscle memory for shooting the slingshot, she'll be able to hit those cans pretty much almost every shot. And that's with only a couple hours, 3, maybe 4 of practice. But if you use it improperly, you can hurt yourself and you can hurt others. And that's another important thing to pay attention to. It doesn't matter if it's a slingshot or a farming implement or your automobile. It's a tool. If it's not used properly, it can hurt people or kill them. When I'm telling you guys about learning a lot of this stuff, I'm not telling you that you should learn it for any other reason than once you start learning it, you start to understand it, and that is something that you're more aware of on the road. Very similar to, like, all right, I always run scrimmage with the bikers. A lot of people been posting stuff up about this recently, and I used to. But when you run scrimmage with a biker, you get behind him, especially if it's real windy, and you maintain a safe distance between you and him. A distance enough that a car that's trying to pass you is going to rethink pulling into that lane between you and the bike ahead of you, but far enough back that people are going to go, hey, that guy's kind of being a douchebag. He's leaving all that space between him and the bike ahead of him. There's a reason for that. If there's a mishap on a bike, that's the end of it. If you're following too close, the wind makes him swerve just a little bit much. He's going to lose speed. He loses speed. You hit him with your bumper. And next thing you know, sure, you feel bad. Everybody knows you feel bad at that point. Like that poor guy, I didn't know, I didn't know, I didn't know. And that's what is problem with especially America today. Everybody wants to say that they didn't know. You didn't know. Like, you never bothered to learn about guns. You don't like guns. Why the hell would you go up to a gun in somebody else's house and touch it? That happened outside of Chapel here a few years ago. I didn't know. Now they got to put a fucking patch in their roof. I didn't know. There's a reason that you're afraid of it. There absolutely is. Misuse can get you fucking killed or someone else killed. Now, rather than remaining ignorant, I would rather that you at least had a passing understanding with the thing and then decide. If you've never fired a firearm and you're just afraid of them, look at how many situations today where firearms are, well, it's the last resort, but at that point, it is the only resort you have left. Uh, train, there's a lot of stuff that I'm interested in that I don't want nothing to do with. I like rockets. I think they're really cool. I don't want nothing to do with them. When it comes to ammunition, I think it's pretty cool how it works. I mean, the physics of it, the way that expansion works and propellants and all that, it's really cool stuff. I mean, from a scientific point of view, from an engineering point of view, it's cool stuff. But it's what they do that's really gross to me. A lot of these guys get into the ballistic stuff and the stuff that they're explaining. I'm like, I don't want to. Oh my God, no! I don't want to hear that. And then a lot of these folks, they're saying, well, I'm doing it for a hunting, and I'm like, well, you've got a human silhouette downrange. Why is it that you only buy human silhouettes if it's for hunting? What are you hunting that looks like a human being? What are you hunting that has the silhouette of a human being? I'm also not going to tell these people they're wrong. Wikipedia tries to pass the Second Amendment off as a hunting law, whereas the Second Amendment in reality is an affirmation and a confirmation of the fact that were it not for the fact that we already had the Second Amendment, we already had the right to keep and bear arms, we had the guns to fight that Revolutionary War that got America its independence. The First Amendment is our freedom of religion, freedom of speech. And the Second Amendment is our right to defend it. There's a lot of people that are quite ignorant. They want to think that just because people like Ted Bollinger aren't legally allowed to have a gun, that they're not going to go get one. Ted Bollinger went and got one. Wasn't the first time either. And then there are innocent people who you cut off from being able to defend themselves against people who don't care about the law. It was illegal for Ted to rape his daughter, and he still did it. It was illegal for Ted to be running around with all that meth. But even after Natalie died, on 4 different occasions, that's exactly what he did. Him having a firearm. When people like me have to fear for our lives against that man. And he can get away with doing whatever he wants because I've been called mentally ill. He can gain access to me whenever he wants and get away with it. With Ted Bollinger's history, I should have been protected from that man from the start, so should Natalie. So should Alicia. And all of the occasions that people have threatened to murder me over Alicia disappearing since her sister disappeared. Her dad had involvement in her disappearance, not me. The last one, my birthday of last year, October 18th, 2019. That's right. People wanted to accuse me of doing something to Alicia Bollinger. All that horrible shit that I had to go through with Natalie, and I have to fucking relive it because her twin sister goes and disappears for a 3rd time Every time Ted's got something to do with it, and I'm the one who's having his life threatened. Do you get that? All these people needed to do was leave me alone. But they didn't leave me alone. They spread rumors and gossip, and when people were physically harming me, they wanted to go, oh, well, we didn't do anything wrong. Let's see, you spread gossip that people are harming me over. Yes, you did do something wrong. You knew that I was disabled and you took advantage of that disability. Yes, you did do something fucking wrong. You misled the situation because you were fucking embarrassed. And an innocent person was being physically harmed and kept from their loved ones and their family because of your goddamn pride. And yes, I know I said that as if I was speaking to Natalie and she were in front of me and she were alive today. Yes, I am aware that Natalie is dead. But that was something that I just needed to express and get off of my chest. I shouldn't have to do this on YouTube or Facebook. People say life isn't fair, life isn't fair, life isn't fair. They keep on telling me that life isn't fair. I know it's not fair. This sure as fuck isn't fair. Donald Trump would not have had to go through this shit. All he'd have had to deal with is exactly what he did: ridicule. Who cares if he's getting ridiculed? He's got armed guards with fully automatic weapons protecting him. The guy can basically do whatever the fuck he wants. He could probably walk around the White House naked, and those guards would still be walking around with them MP5s fucking protecting his ass. The laws aren't equal if they don't apply to everyone. Bail does not apply to everyone. If you can buy your way out and I can't, yeah, then you have the opportunity to help work with your public pretender if they actually show up. That gives you the opportunity to actually see the slander against you instead of having it being covered up. That allows you, if you can buy your way out of jail, you can probably hire a lawyer. If you can hire a lawyer, then you can be guilty of sin and still get off. If you can't hire a lawyer, it doesn't matter that you're innocent. You're probably going to get railroaded. Why is it the police choose the homeless and the disabled? We are the least likely to have money to get a lawyer. We are least likely. We are the least likely to be heard by our society. Because you have to buy your voice. You have to buy it. If your daddy gives you $1 million, you can spend that $1 million to buy all sorts of shit. Shit that will impress people. Shit that will make people happy. People will like you because you buy stuff. Damn. Trickle down economics, right? People keep calling Donald Trump's mental capacity into question. Why didn't anybody do anything to begin with? How did not everyone see this coming? Every election, it's a fucking joke. It's an entire year where these guys basically show what a bunch of fucking idiots the American public are. Our voting system is a fucking joke. They know it. You know it. The whole fucking world knows it. This is not true democracy. In order for true democracy to prevail, the people have to be educated. What we got now is a bunch of people voting based on the popularity of the person telling them to vote. Who's more popular between these two candidates? That's what it comes down to. How do you get popularity? Well, you got to buy yourself some advertisement. So the one with the most money gets to buy the most advertisement. Boom, he wins. It's stupid. And it used to be that people would, at least in our government, would at least look at the situation and vote based on what their constituents thought or what they felt was morally okay, morally the right thing to do. You look at how they voted, I mean, people didn't vote Republican or Democrat. They voted on the individual issue. Nowadays, you look at how they vote, Democrats mostly vote for Democratic stuff. Republicans mostly vote for Republican stuff. And they pretty much automatically oppose each other on everything. Yeah, we just put the brakes on any sort of progress that could ever be fucking possible. Look how hard we are fighting for just basic human rights. Still, they gave these rights to us, right? They just gave it to us for no reason, right? No, people had to fight and fucking die for it. People who died who did not fight violently, like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., got shot in the head, and he wasn't out there beating on anybody. Starmasia type money talks. You're absolutely right. All these people think that because I'm smart that I should be able to do this stuff without any of the resources to do it, without any of the knowledge to do it, without having a severe fucking panic attack. And my panic attack has lasted for 4 years. I need a safe environment and help. I had that. I was either going to buy a 9-acre chunk of property down there in Colorado, or I was going to buy Megan Christie's house in Chapel, Nebraska. But Natalie died, so that didn't get to happen. All that money got spent being victimized over the term mentally ill. Starmasia type stuff in here that I think makes sense. You could be the biggest idiot and still have the respect of everyone, as long as you're rich. Well, not so much, but you get the respect of enough people that you can take over. See, here's the thing about poor people. They look at somebody who's got what they want and they go, I want to be them. I admire them. There's a lot of poor people who admire Donald Trump because they wish they were him. A lot of these political battles that are being fought, those who were the first to stand up, the first to say something, or in some cases, the first to kneel. Now, their cause is popular. They're still not. People went after the specific officers who did the things that they did to me, but they didn't do that with me or for me. They only cared when it happened to them, and when it comes to all of their cases, they only care about their case. They don't care about anyone else's. Every time that the police are allowed to buy out a dispute like they do, what they're doing is they're buying out statistics. They're taking your taxpayer dollars. This isn't their hard-earned money. This is yours. And they're buying out a statistic that shows how fucking rotten they are. Every time that they allow an officer to walk away from a situation like this, Officer Waylon Lolatai should have been charged with at least 8 counts of assault. That is a habitual offender. That is a life sentence. People say, hey, Sean, you need anger management. Look at the situation that I was in and tell me again that I need anger management. Look at the fact that I was trying to get a hold of the police. They were taking me to nuthatches. I was being injected with drugs by fucking idiots. Clearview is full of fucking idiots. The state of Colorado closed Clearview down for a fucking reason. The problem is the things those fucking idiots there, the things that they did, and the things that the police did. Obviously, both of these situations, I'm dealing with very, very crooked individuals and facilities. It's blatantly obvious to everyone, and still, these predators have been allowed to get away with the things that they have done to me. The things that they did to prevent me from being able to file reports against them. The things that they did to me to prevent me from having the money to take care of myself. The things that they did to me to make me a target for violence. These things were not choices. Corruption is not the decision of the victim. Rape is not the decision of the victim. You need to stop victim shaming. A lot of people say, well, Alicia is the victim. No, the fuck she's not. She's the fucking predator. She knew that the narrative that she was fucking selling was a lie. And when it resulted in innocent people being harmed, the police didn't fucking care. They didn't fucking care. And that innocent person continued to be harmed. I'm not going to apologize because I don't have a family that gives a shit. I tried to get my family's help, and that sucks, knowing what kind of people that they are. Knowing what my Uncle James and my Uncle Matt did to my Aunt Marcy makes me not want to go to them for help. Knowing what my grandpa did to my mom makes me not want to go to him for help. Knowing that my mom is such a fucking predator makes me not want to go to her for help. Knowing that my older brother is too fucked up and too selfish to understand what the fuck is going on. This is all stuff that I have to deal with, whether you want to believe it is happening or not. When I said I recorded conversations with many of these people, I wasn't fucking kidding. And when I said I was an asshole to them, I wasn't kidding about that either. I didn't hide the shit that I did. You know, you want to know if I cursed at somebody, I'll fucking tell you. Yeah, goddamn right I did. And each and every one of these people I tried being nice to first. Hey, I'm being harmed. I am being harmed. I need your help to stop this. Well, I'm sorry. I don't know what I can do. You can speak up. Well, I don't know how to do that. You don't know how to speak up? Take a look at Colin Kaepernick. Shit, still don't nobody like him. They still only care about football and not the message that he was trying to send. You know, these racist assholes who hate all black peoples, a lot of them still watch football. A lot of these white folks who or a lot of these black folks who wanna hate all white folks, still watch football. You know, that's something you can find as a fucking mutual ground somehow. There's white football players on the field. There's black football players on the field. There's people of every color and shade on the fucking field. If they can play together, you can work together. And if they can shake hands at the end of the game, so can you. Starmasia typed, I know many who'd lick the president's butt because they think he's so damn amazing. It's easy to be amazing when you're given $1 million loan from daddy. Even if you don't make anything of that, you could buy your own fucking island and you could move there and never have to worry about it again. You think your dad's going to be able to come find you and your island and come take everything back? Probably not. You know, when a rich person declares bankruptcy, they don't take everything from them. They're allowed to have their house and a vehicle. You guys, they'll take your vehicle. But a rich person, when they declare bankruptcy, they're allowed to keep a vehicle and a house. If they own 10 houses, sure, they lost 9 of them, but they still have a house. And you say, oh, well, they lost way more than that poor person. That poor person is now on the fucking streets. They don't have a house. I don't know what Rick Sanchez typed. It says message retracted. I'm assuming it's probably more trolling. There's a lot of Rick Sanchez's. A lot of them. It seems to be a troll name. Elizabeth Linus typed, yep. Look at Ken Lay's wife. When Enron fell, she kept a few houses. Yep. But look at us. When they take it from us, they take it from us immediately. If you need that money to survive on, and you're assaulted by an officer who charges you with felony assault, and you're made a target by the media and by your predators, like, where are you possibly going to go? All of my money getting spent because with all the media exposure, I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't. Everywhere that I went, I had to fucking... I was homeless in the Boulder and Denver and Longmont areas after the news in those areas had my face all over the fucking place, pegging me as an evil person. And I was literally having to break the law to try to get the cops to look at that. Like, literally, for them to believe that those things would not happen after that scenario shows that these guys literally did it on purpose, because nobody in their right fucking mind is going to believe that after a person is pegged like that on the news, that nobody's going to do anything horrible to them. I suppose they probably figured that the public would take care of it for them. They didn't get that fucking lucky. These people who were threatening to kill me, like Tim Beeson, never followed through. Dalton Crawford never followed through. Braxton never followed through. Chris Kurth doesn't even know those people. But guess what? Again, he didn't follow through. I gave all of these people 3 days 3 days to keep their fucking word before calling the cops. I didn't call the cops because they threatened to kill me. I called the cops because they didn't follow through. Anyway, it's 5 o'clock, so that means it will be dark out. And I can tell by the cracks in this thing that it is dark that time of the year. Elizabeth Salinas type media twist things all the time. And that's the point, is that I still have the proof that the media did twist it. I still have the proof that the police did the same, and so did the volunteers. All of them preyed on the same exact thing. Mentally ill. Well, you're the one who's mentally ill. And that's the problem with that tag. Anybody can get away with doing anything they want to you and just say that you're at fault because you're mentally ill. And then nothing you have to say matters unless someone is there in person to speak for you. If you say, I've been assaulted 7 times in the last year, the police don't hear that. They hear, here's some crazy kook, and there's words coming out of his mouth. Now, if someone is there with you, and I say, hey, I've been assaulted 7 times in the last year, and then the person who's there with me says, hey, he has been assaulted 7 times in the last year, they will hear the other person where they did not hear me. If I'm telling on one of their friends, yes, many of these officers are friends with one another. If I'm telling on one of their friends and it's just me, there is all sorts of incentive there for them not to do their jobs. There's all sorts of incentive there for them to cover for their friends by abusing their power and having me abused as a result. That's the problem with the mentally ill tag. It means you have to take the abuse. You deserve it because you're called mentally ill. Let me tell you something. There are a lot of people who are schizophrenic, who actually are schizophrenic. But 40% of those diagnosed with schizophrenia in the United States are not schizophrenic. But if you rape somebody who is schizophrenic, you will probably get away with it. And that is sad to say. Hey, this person told you what they were going through. Why didn't you do something about it? And the officer says, well, they're schizophrenic. Well, if they can't peg you as schizophrenic, they just use a blanket term that means schizophrenic to the general public, like mentally ill. And all of you know that you can do that. Natalie knew she could do it. Her stepmothers knew that they could do it. Everybody knows they can do it. Many of these people who did those things to me, before they ever did those things, they admitted to it. How fucked up is that? I need to get some sleep. Hopefully Brandon will get back a hold of me. He hasn't yet. Most of the people that I went to for help, no matter how many times I explained that to them, they showed that they were idiots by not listening. They showed that they were idiots by making assumptions instead of finding out. Several of those people didn't have time to do the right thing because they were chasing after some nookie that they'd known for less than 3 months. In one of those cases, less than 2 weeks. Trying to make a relationship immediately after getting out of a relationship is apparently how most of y'all deal with that. When people's lives were in danger, I didn't make excuses to do nothing. And I still won't. Rick Sanchez keeps message retracting. So if you guys are interacting with him, he's a troll, just ignore him. Elizabeth Salinas type, look at how they treated Richard Jewell. He was innocent, but they thought he was the Olympic bomber, but it was Eric Rudolph. But Richard was dragged through the mud. No one is above the law, they say, unless you're a cop or a judge or a public pretender or apparently a pretty druggie. Oh my God. All right. I need to get some sleep. But there's a guy who's leaving for New Mexico for around a month, and he's basically my only decent person to hang out with. I'm going to be going through a month of hell here shortly. Looking like I need to get help moving my golf cart so the city doesn't tow it. I got that thing because I didn't have a driver's license and I needed transportation to get groceries. I spent a lot trying to get it working. I even have a spare golf cart that I got for free to get parts off of. The problem is the parts on that golf cart that are messed up, this golf cart doesn't even have. There's no engine in it. There's no nothing. Still has a rear axle though, so I mean it's better than nothing. But when I learned how to draw, I wasn't very good at it. I pretty much learned how to draw portraits overnight, and I was pretty much good at it overnight. Before that, I'd kind of dabbled and tried artwork, and I just really fucking sucked at it. But that's one of them things. You think I'm retarded, but you look at my artwork and you go, "Wow." You get this idea that I'm some sort of fucking freak. You listen to me when I'm not having a severe panic attack or a fucking meltdown. Things are a lot nicer, aren't they? By the way, I'm still having a panic attack. Y'all be safe. I'll probably be on later. I don't sleep much.